have organic material in it.
What is the difference between a cat and a rock?
There's not much difference.
I'm not saying a dead cat and a rock. What's the difference between a cat and a rock?
So what do you want to mean the difference though? Because a rock is still organic matter. So if you go in that term, they're not much different. They're just different compositions of organic matter. If you are talking about consciousness, a cat is not self-aware of itself. So
a cat is not self-aware of itself.
No. If you put a cat in front of a mirror, it thinks it's another cat.
1 second. Yeah. So the cat is not self-aware, and yet it goes hunting for its food because it's not self-aware. It needs food.
No, that's not why. It's from a maternal instinct. So a kitten, right? You could take a kitten away from its mother, but the kitten will still need you. A kitten will still do it because it's from their genetics. It's genetic memory passed on, traits.
So when you see a cat, and the cat is normally abused, right? The next time the abuser comes and wants to do something like a hammer or something, like some guys we know about, they want to kill their fathers, right? Imagine that guy wants to hammer the cat and kill it.
I think.
Do you think the cat will stay? Or will it just disappear?
That's a flight reflex.
The cat is not self-aware, and yet what reflex is it showing from what?
It's reflecting from danger. What it
But the cat is not aware that it exists.
It is not aware of itself in a mirror. So if you
we're not talking about mirror. Not everyone knows what a mirror is.
Right? So a reflex action is
self-awareness of oneself. So when you see animals, are you saying the animals are not self-aware that they're there?
Some don't,
Like a cat.
Yeah, some don't. Some are not aware of themselves.
Strange cats.
No, this is actually scientific theory. We have proven this, but the best way of doing it is you get a cat and you get a dog and you get a monkey, a chimpanzee. You put a dog and a cat in front of a mirror and you put
You're
a
talking
red
about the
dot.
mirrors again.
Yeah.
Are you saying the mirror determines someone's self-awareness?
Of course it does. You're aware of yourself. You can if you see the dot on your head and you touch the dot, then you know
I can
it's
imagine
you.
a tribe living in the Amazon rainforest, never seen a mirror before, coming across a mirror the first time.
They have done this test and it has
then being freaked
come
out by and not recognising, so they would fail your test, and yet they could obviously be self-aware because they're human. So that is not an infallible test.
It's not infallible. Okay.
Sorry, just to interject a second. So what we could actually say from that scientific experiment is that they're not aware of the reflection. I don't think you can take it that they're not aware of themselves.
I think
unless they stopped feeding themselves, my friend.
That's
a different matter. Do you see my point here?
Okay, I agree with that. I said it wrong. I think the idea, the best way of saying it is the way that they do it in the experiment is they put a red dot on the head and they point themselves at the mirror. A 1-year-old child will touch the mirror where the dot is, but a 2-year-old child will touch his head because it knows the dot is on its head, not on another person. Sure. So there's awareness has changed.
Fair. So just last bit. Yeah. So they what we could say is they're not aware of themselves.
Yes.
Yeah? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Because I don't think that's the case, because the fact is they're not aware that what they're looking at is them.
Yes.
They are aware of themselves, otherwise they wouldn't move their hands, they wouldn't move anything. Do you see my point?
I think it's a valid distinction.
I think that's a valid distinction. I'm not good at I'm not the best at this part, right? So I'm gonna the way I was taught it was awareness. The best way of saying awareness is what's the best example?
Breathing.
It's the universe self-aware.
Okay, breathe. Thank you. That's the best one. Breathing is an instinctive reflex. You know to breathe, but who taught you to breathe? No one taught you to breathe because it's a natural instinct that is required to live.
It's a program part of your body.
Yeah,
it's a program. So once you program someone to breathe, you breathe through your.
But through programming, we have lost many traits. So if you look at your back here, you touch the top of there, we have a tailbone. Right, and from that tailbone, we used to have a tail. Yeah, so you can actually feel it.
So have you seen a human being with the tail in the remains?
We have, yeah. Through.
How long was the tail of a human being in the fossil record?
I can't remember. I'll have to go back.
Can you look it up? Yeah,
I'll have a look for you next time.
We should be able to see that in the Naturalist Museum next time. The human beings, ancestors of human beings.
Yeah, the common ancestors.
Yeah, had a long tail, right?
No, it's not. I don't know if it's a long tail. I can't say that.
That's what you're suggesting, right?
Yeah,
anyway.
but we were suggesting.
I haven't seen in any museum that human beings.
If you look
in
here,
their fossil record,
we have a tailbone.
Yeah, but doesn't
we also
mean that
have
you had a tail.
All right, and we have an appendix. Our appendix originally was designed for raw meat. We don't eat raw meat anymore, so our appendix is useless. So if you cut the appendix,
Sorry. You are in the medical field, right?
Yeah.
And you're saying the appendix is useless.
Yeah. You can remove it. And it has
what controls your stress? Does appendix have a role in stress control?
He works in a medical area as well.
Look, there's no point discussing two people in the medical field, right? This was the beliefs once of the evolutionists where they wanted to show like vestigial organs.
Yeah,
You know very well, right?
we have.
Vestigial organs. Oh, we had these organs, evolutionary leftovers. You know, that's you don't need them anymore.
Yeah.
As time went, let me start with you just a brief history about this.
Yeah.
Initially, the list say about that one. You know,
Yeah.
I'm going to quantify in this one.
Yeah, it was about that.
Right. Guess what? As time went and we understood the mechanism, the physiology and the function of this, it became shorter, shorter and shorter and shorter. So what we thought was useless actually has a function. So once, many years ago, people were thinking about the vestigial organs and someone asked this question, the appendix.
Yeah.
And they asked this question to Scientific American. Do you read Scientific American? I used to read Scientific American and New Scientist back in the uni days.
Yeah.
I loved it because of their questions at the end.
they
Right?
do, yeah,
Right.
they change it.
And they asked these questions and then two independent scientists answered this question about the role of the appendix.
Okay.
And guess what? Even from that time onwards, now maybe about 15 years onwards, or even longer, I still see, like yourself, people somehow in this indoctrination of this belief that appendix has no role, appendix has functions no purpose. But what I'm saying is, it does. But that's not the point I'm asking you though. I want to go back.
Okay,
You know,
so let's start.
we're not discussing this about evolution and this.
Yeah.
We want to talk about you are in existence now.
Yes.
Right. If there was nothing, meaning no energy,
Yeah.
no matter,
Yeah.
no fluctuations,
Yeah.
then we would expect no energy, no fluctuation, because
Correct.
energy and fluctuation won't come from nothing. There has to
Correct.
be
Yes. Correct.
some origination of this.
Yeah.
So if you're already seeing in this universe
Yeah.
this something,
Yeah.
you cannot postulate as a scientist. Because then you have to say, I'm not a scientist anymore. As a scientist, whether you are a scientist in the quantum mechanics field or
Correct,
otherwise, you cannot say the universe came from nothing.
No
And
one says
if
that.
you
Correct. Yeah. Well, I don't know.
no
anyone
one
who
says
s-
that?
I don't know anyone.
What's
who
this
says
book
that.
called, The Universe from Nothing by Professor Lawrence Krauss?
Okay, then if he wrote that, then he's not really good at that. Then.
He is been voted by being the one of the most prominent, influential scientists in the world. One of them, right? Out of the only.
I don't. I think that's a concept. I mean,
No, I'm just highlighting the fact. I'm not saying he's so great. In this case here, he's very deceptive. I actually approached him once. With my 2-minute encounter with him on a book signing. Why are you deceiving people saying the universe came from nothing when you know very well that that's not the case? And he says, I explained in my book what my nothing is. His nothing is something. So he is basically saying the nothing that I'm describing is actually something, this process, so he's deceiving the mass of atheists who thinks now we have a scientists who are with us, supporting us, saying the universe can come from nothing.
I think this is what you are. So you use journals, which is great because that means that now I can go read the journal, and once it's read, as you know, with the medical journal, we can say yes, okay. So like you say with me, with my field, we now know that cabbage, where we cut your chest open to do it, is wrong. We do it through the leg, and it's much better. I think what Lawrence Krauss says, I have watched him sometimes on
I've watched his
eBay.
videos on this very subject.
I think he's too militaristic in the fact that he's trying to give himself a super state, is what the best way of saying it.
Okay, so leave him alone.
Yeah, so-
we're not discussing about militant atheism.
Yeah.
We're discussing about humanism, apatheism, and
So
this
as-
middle
as-
ground
as a-
agnosticism, which is your position.
So
okay?
as a middle ground agnostic, I think.
So how do you explain, please? The reason why I want to bring this discussion to this point.
Okay.
How do you explain something's existence when there is no creator?
So the best way to say that is, how would you say it the best way? My way of saying it, I don't know. So my answer to I don't know is, rather than me trying to figure out an answer, I will live my life according to a humanistic view. And when I meet my creator, if I do meet my creator, I can ask him that question.
Okay, interesting answer, but it's not the right answer, is it?
It's
If I
not
go
right.
to an exam,
Of course it is, yeah.
if I go to an
There are
exam,
no real
if I go to an exam and I say I don't know, I'm not going to get any marks because marks are only for right answers.
But-
You might get a negative marking if when you say get the wrong answer,
Yeah.
but the question I asked you about something out of nothingness, if you say I don't know, that is not the right answer. This is simply not knowing what the answer is.
Correct.
Right. So the fact remains then there is an answer.
There is an
So,
answer.
if something exists now, could it come from absolute nothingness? Yes or no? If you say it can come from absolute nothingness, that you're saying when there's absolute nothing, you can get something. how do you get something from absolute nothing? There's nothing to begin with, nothing to do anything.
I think the best way of doing it is, have you heard of Erwin Schrödinger?
Schrödinger's cat experiment.
Schrödinger's cat
experiment.
This is
that doesn't answer the question.
This is the answer. The best answer. The reason why we call it that, it's called a superstate. So you have the experiment. You cannot know the cat is dead or alive until you open the box and you break.
How about making a box which is transparent?
But what happens if it's not transparent?
Now I'm asking you, a transparent box.
Then you can tell.
Then you can tell.
Yeah.
So why do you do all this, messing around?
Because
make it close.
No, because this is the thing. In a closed environment, closed. That means there's no answer to the opening. You saying that you have one side of the superstate without opening the box.
The only thing you're saying, correct me if I'm mistaken, that the effect of the viewer influences or affects.
Correct.
Yeah, the ratio.
Correct.
Right. So basically, there will be some effect. So whatever it's dead or whatever, it's just an effect.
So
it doesn't answer the question about how do you get something from nothing.
But
if I have no money in my wallet,
Yeah.
and I have no friends or family to borrow from or no banks, can I give you £5?
No, see, this is where you're changing it slightly for me.
My question is very simple. If I have nothing,
Yeah.
no money, remember, I have no money in my wallet. If I have no money in my wallet and I have no one to borrow from,
Yeah.
can I give you £5?
Trying to.
Yeah, and no one to borrow from. Can I give you £5?
No.
Why not? Because I have no money.
As evidence, as viewed, I can see your wallet is empty.
No, I said no money. I just told you I have no money.
But I will say to you, can you show me your wallet?
If I showed you your wallet and it was empty, can I give you £5 from it?
No.
Right.
But if you
So-
show me a wallet and you said there was £5 in there.
No, I said there was no money in it.
You said there was none, and you show me a wallet and I see money in it.
No, you're
the answer is
complicating
yes.
things. I give you an empty wallet, you see it
Yeah.
under a microscope or whatever you want, and there's no money.
answer
I
is
can't
no.
give you any money for it.
Yes,
so
correct.
if the universe at
Yeah.
one point there was absolutely nothing,
That's not correct. So,
I'm saying hypothetically,
hypothetically,
if there was nothing to begin with,
yes,
can you have the universe?
no.
Right. So if you have the universe, could there be absolute nothing to begin with? Now, think about the answer.
So, my theory, from where I learned it from, the answer is no. But that does not imply there's a creator. There's two sides to that
That's
coin.
not. We're not talking about the create yet. What it establishes is
Yeah.
that something could not have come from nothingness.
But we still haven't defined nothingness yet. This
I
is-
just told you absence of everything.
But this is you're talking in terms of what you can say an absence of.
I'll give you an example of a rock dreaming of nothing. That's the nothing I'm talking about. The rocks don't dream, but somehow you think the rocks
But
may dream.
what happens in 10 years when you find the rock can dream? Can you be proven wrong?
Are you really thinking the rock in 10 years can prove it in dreams?
That could be completely wrong, it could be completely right. But the
Is
answer
anything
is,
possible? Is that what you're saying?
How does that make sense?
well, let's put it like this. The best guess of the world is that we can't answer. So I would never presume to answer the questions I don't know. So like for 40 years, my favorite line is Higgs himself. Both, all right. Arthur Higgs was discredited. He was hated by the entire science community, laughed out of the room because he said there was a universe, a creator particle, what we now call the God particle. 30 years of his life, shown the script, and he went, no, I truly believe there is something there. And what, was it 2 years ago now, I think? They discovered it.
I think it's more than that, yeah.
Yeah, a bit more than that, but yeah. My history is not very good, sorry. So I can't say to you that there's nothing because I don't know the meaning of nothing.
I think he
When I
mentioned
talked about I had no
hypothetically.
money in my wallet,
Yeah.
you understood what I mean?
That's two different concepts, though.
Let's understand one thing. When I said I had no money,
Sorry.
and you actually seen no money in my wallet, did you understand?
But that's
Nothing.
evidence.
No, when I said no money means nothing of money.
Yeah.
Did you understand that nothing?
Yeah, but that's evidence, nothing.
You understood what that nothing was.
Yeah, but
What
that's
was nothing of?
There is
The absence of what?
the absence of money.
Absence of money. Good. So when I'm talking about nothingness, it's absence of everything. Is it difficult to comprehend?
It's not difficult to comprehend. It's difficult to explain how to say. You can't say there's nothing because you don't know what's there. There are things every day that get discovered that you can say it from. So
I have just explained to you the absence of everything.
But you
is this
can't say there's
concept.
an absence of everything.
I'm just defining the concept.
If you say
Hypothetically, I think
okay,
you're saying.
if you say in hypothetical terms, your answer is no. You are correct. There is no such thing as nothing.
Because if there was such thing, can you get something out of it?
No, of course not.
Yeah. So that means if there is something there, you cannot have such thing in the past.
But that's not what they're saying. But okay, the
I
answer
don't
is
get it.
yeah.
If you accept that if there was such thing in the past, there will be nothing of this nature, something here,
All right.
and you say something is already here,
Yes.
then you have to accept there was nothing, absolutely nothing in the past.
Correct.
Yeah. So that means there has to be always something.
So as far as we know, you're saying that something is the creator.
You're jumping. So you have to now accept, rationally speaking, there has to be always something. Always something.
But we don't know what that something is sometimes.
That's the next question to explore. You have
That's
to
it.
accept now
Yeah.
and says,
That's
yes,
good.
there has to be always something if something exists today.
We don't know that though. Again,
You just established that.
no, but this is where I'm saying to you, we don't know what
If you say nothingness cannot make something and
I'm going
then
to walk around because I'm freezing.
pleasure, yeah.
we're just going back and forth on the same thing that we agree.
Yeah.
So let's do it once more time.
Yeah.
If there was such a thing was absolute nothingness,
Okay.
can it give rise to this universe?
Possibility? Maybe.
How can it give rise to this universe when absolutely nothing? It has nothing in it.
This is where,
It doesn't even exist. It's nothing.
but when you define nothing, we don't know what that nothing is
I
it?
just defined to you and you were saying I'm having trouble with the definition. I have defined a concept which is the absence of everything.
Because I think...
Can this absence of everything as an agent
Yeah.
generate, produce, bring about, create this universe?
I think that's not the right question to ask.
I've asked you this question and you tell me whether it's the right or wrong question.
I think it's the wrong
You
question.
understand?
I understand the question,
Do you
but
know why?
I
Do you know
think-
why,
I-
KO? You're
I think-
reluctant
I think
or
that's the-
finding uncomfortable to accept that?
It's not
I can tell you
uncomfortable.
why.
So hypothetically, you are completely
Because
correct.
you are already got a position of humanism.
So from my...
You are already in your position of humanism
Yeah.
or agnosticism and so on. It is forcing you to make your position shift towards something else.
It's not shifting.
It
It's
will force you to
basically-
move your position.
So what I say my favorite line to everyone is, and this is the simplest line to say of something from nothing is, the line something from nothing is the wrong question to ask of a universe to start it, because we can't walk to that point in time. We can hear sometimes. If you believe in science in some ways, we can hear echoes of the Big Bang. So every time you turn on your radio and you hear the static noise, that's echoes of the Big Bang.
I'm not sure why you're trying to
So
avoid
this-
the very question that we're discussing.
But the basic question, that's
no,
how I
no,
say
no,
it's,
the question, when we define something,
Yeah.
what are we defining with? This something.
Yeah, there you go.
This universe is something. Now tell me what I mean by something. What is this something of this universe?
So that this is a wrong thing to say something.
So now you're saying me, oh, I'm not asking the right questions.
Yeah.
Your defense or your response is about you're not asking the right questions. This is how we do science.
I think KO,
No,
sorry.
it's not how you do science. This
Right.
Is, this is.
So
this
is this how we do humanism?
No, this is not how we do
Good.
it.
So
This
let's not
this is-
ask. This is not the right question
Sorry,
or
what were you
the
saying?
wrong question.
One thing I was going to say was you accepted that hypothetically, if there was nothing,
Hypothetically, yeah.
if there was nothing,
Yes.
nothing can come from that.
Yes.
Okay. Then is your position that the universe always existed? There was always something.
So
I-
my position
Yes.
is being someone who is not intelligent enough to try and answer this question.
Okay,
rather
fair.
than try and say to everyone, I know the answer, I'm going to say the best answer, which is the answer everyone should say, is I don't know.
But you use inductive logic and deductive logic all the time.
Exactly.
3 people in a room,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
A, B, and C. Oh, it's not correct. Say their names are Mark, Luke, and John.
Yes.
Mark and Luke came out.
Yeah.
Are you going to have any trouble or difficulty knowing who's in the room?
So, but what you're saying is subjective, because when you're saying
Subjective.
it, you're saying it.
So you're
as-
going to have a doubt that it's John in the room or not.
But-
when Mark and Luke came out, 3 people in the room went in.
But
There's
can
no
you see them?
Wait a moment. Wait
Sorry.
a moment. This room has no windows, only one door.
Yeah.
It's so you can't break out basically.
Correct. Okay.
In either way, top,
Yeah.
bottom, sides.
Yeah.
3 people went in,
Yeah.
2 people come out.
Yes.
And you know out of this Mark, Luke and John, Mark and Luke come out already. are you saying you are still going to think, who's left inside? Will you have doubt that's John inside?
As a smart person, right? As a person who rationally thinks. So this is the difference, right? As a person who rationally, if I see 3 people walking in and 2 walking out, I know the answer is 1. If you said to me from the outside, there are 3 people in the room and 2 people walk out, until I physically see the 3rd person, I don't know he exists. He doesn't exist to me. He is a non-entity.
You see, for some reason you're complicating things. I'm trying to simplify. All the analogies I'm giving trying to simplify. In front of you, you let them in. Mark, you go in. Close the door.
Correct.
Luke, you go in. You close the door. You put them inside.
Yes.
John, you put them inside.
Yes.
So 3 people, you put them inside.
Yes.
Right? And you close the door yourself. You get the keys.
Correct.
You open the key. One of them came out. Mark first.
Okay.
Next, you open the door again, Luke came out.
Yes.
Now the door is locked. Are you going to have any doubt who's inside? Is it John or not?
No, because I witnessed the event.
Good. So what I'm saying is, if
So you're saying
you
witnessed the creation of the universe.
understand the issues about absolute nothingness and something, if absolute nothingness hypothetically existed,
Hypothetically, okay,
it cannot give rise to something.
correct.
The fact that there is something here,
Yeah.
it means this hypothetical nothingness cannot exist.
Correct.
So there cannot be anything called absolute nothingness.
Correct again.
That means there has to be always something.
Correct.
Good. So now, since we agree, we're not going to move our position now.
Yes.
There was always something in existence.
Possibly.
That's,
Correct. Yes.
Let me say, you can say possibly correct.
Because I don't know. So.
Well, you just agreed. There has
Yes.
to be.
From my point of view, so correct. So.
No. I'm not going to move on to any discussion further. I'm sorry, Kyle, if you say possibly. When you already agreed, hypothetical absolute nothingness cannot exist if something exists now here. There has to be something
I agree,
always.
but that doesn't mean it's the truth. So that's what I'm going to say.
So are you saying it can exist?
I'm not a scientist, so I don't know. So I'm saying to you, my answer is.
Do you know?
From my point of view, so from me to you, if you ask me my opinion is you are correct.
So a scientist today
philosophy.
or later can tell you that absolute nothingness can give rise to something.
If there is scientific method and proof to that, then yes, that's the correct fact of life.
Which we defined already. You're going to rely on a future scientific
If
proof, evidence, or theory where...
that's how the world works, isn't it?
No.
On the basis of science, though.
Is science rational?
Science can be rational, yes. That's why it's called science. You should be tested and tested. I think it's the best way of saying it.
Can I ask a quick question? Sorry,
Yeah.
I know I asked a few.
Yeah.
Can science prove God?
Okay, so in my view, science can prove God because there will always be a question. Someone will always be searching for God. If there is a God, it will be found eventually because
It's a metaphysical, so...
if it's metaphysical, then it doesn't matter because we have observed metaphysical states. We do have quite a lot of quantum mechanics now, so we know of metaphysical states here and not here at the same time. We have quantum worlds.
Yeah.
We do understand that there are many more more than we can possibly imagine so far. We already now have discovered things like that.
So you're waiting, am I correct in saying that if there was scientific proof, you would believe in God?
Any atheist who is sensible, that excludes militant ones because I don't know why they do this.
Sure.
So any atheist who is sensible will say the same thing, which is the honest truth, and it should be the case. If a proof existed of a God, there is no question of doubt we would...
What kind of proof you are alluding to?
So proof is quite different.
Because you're saying if a proof existed, meaning there is no proof scientifically. So that's the interesting question to begin with.
Yeah, it's a very interesting question.
Is it a scientific question in the first place?
So for God at the moment, if you consider it in terms of what people are saying at the moment, so if you consider it from a militaristic atheist point of view, they are staking a claim that he doesn't exist because there is no claim of God.
You're missing the whole question. From the scientific method, is the existence of God a scientific question? Can you use the scientific method to answer this question?
So, I don't actually know, to be honest. This is a question that is going to puzzle a lot of people for a long time to come.
Do you know what scientific method is?
Scientific method is a test, repeatable tests, observable, repeatable tests.
So if God is beyond your universe, how can you observe and repeat this observation?
So that's the problem with it. If it's unscientific, it's not considered a science, is it?
This is the problem that is with atheism of any kind, whether it's militant or otherwise. If
I think-
you have a particular line of inquiry
I think-
which is limited in its scope,
Yes, it is.
how do you then apply that line of inquiry
So-
with its limited scope and say, I'm going to apply to answer everything? Can science answer whether you are the most handsome man in the world?
It can if you have the ability to test every human being.
No, you
Are you-
cannot.
It can.
This is not within the scope of science. I mean, I don't think you
It's
you
observable.
understand. I don't
It
think
is
you understand
observable.
what we mean by scientific method.
If you observe and test it and it comes to the same conclusion multiple times. So if I perform an experiment and you think it's wrong and perform an independent experiment away, right, and it concludes that my method is correct,
Carry on.
it is accepted.
Is
as
beauty subjective?
Beauty can be subjective, correct? Yes.
Are you saying beauty can be objective?
Can be to some people. It's in the eye of the beholder
No,
most of the time.
no. When you say most of the time, when you say sometimes it's not, how can beauty be objective sometimes? Go ahead, explain.
So for beauty, I think. So say I think you look good. I think you look bad. It's no offense. It's not true. All right. That's my objective thought from my mind. From
When
scientific
you say,
point
you
of
see
view.
now you're again,
From
Kale,
a scientific point of view.
confusing. You just described subjectivity. You haven't described objectivity.
Objectivity.
So when you say objectively something can be beautiful, go ahead, explain what do you mean.
Okay, so defining objective beauty. So you'll have a consensus standard. So you'll have what we would consider a worldwide poll of every single human, and from that we would generate a composite of what humans believe to be the most desirable traits. And then should, in a scientific method, should all the traits match together, it would be desirably aesthetic to every human being.
And you think beauty can be polled like that, with a poll and saying, you know what, people from Africa with big nose and people from China with no nose, like a shorter nose.
Yeah, like us, sure.
Yeah. And I'll say, you know what, we want someone in the middle, and that's the most beautiful thing, and you will agree? Come on.
It depends.
Beauty is not the realm of science.
It can be if you had the daring.
I'm
to
not
try.
sure why you're trying to struggle to
Can. So
get.
it's
No.
the same. It's scientific method. All scientific method is you say to me. So I say to you, gravity exists because an apple falls. But that's not just gravity. That's why everyone says, "Oh, Newton."
You see,
the apple.
you're confusing the issues. When I brought this issue of altruism or beauty and so
Okay,
on,
altruism,
yeah, or morality.
Morality.
Are you saying
is for-
science can determine what is the best moral thing?
Well, okay. In true terms of scientific method, the most moralistic view is not a view most humans would subscribe to.
Please. Make it as simple. Are you suggesting science can determine what is the best morals?
It has, and we don't like them. So yes.
What they has or not? Are you saying they can?
Yeah.
So science can determine through what they determine what's the best moral values or principles?
So it's a testable fact, isn't it? So I hit you, right? And you say to me, I don't like that. Then you go to another person, you hit him, and he goes, I don't like that. And you go to a third person, and you hit him, and he goes, I don't like that. Therefore, you're testing your theory. If I punch you, and you don't like it, you're testing me. The test is complete. You've asked from 3 independent sources the test, and the test has said to you, yes, this is the truth. That's all scientific method
Is
is.
stealing good or bad?
So, theft, right?
Just one moment.
Go to Mansur.
You have a railway line,
Yeah.
and there are 5 innocent people. Total innocent, totally good people,
I've done this
right?
before, yeah.
Right? They're tied on this. And you have another line. You are controlling with this shift whether you can go to left or right.
Yes.
And then, if it goes through the 5 people line,
Yeah.
then towards the end, that's it, the train stops eventually. On the other side, if you let the train go with no brakes, by the way,
Yeah.
it's going to kill, say, 500 people.
Yes.
Now, what are you going to do when you're standing on this, with this lever? Are you going to let it go on the left and kill 5 people and save 500?
That's not
Or
a
are you going
scientific
to,
method, though. That's a humanist thing.
excuse me, my friend Carol.
Sorry, carry on.
Or are you going to let it go on the right and it goes and kills 500 people? So, using your scientific method,
Yeah.
could you now explain what is the best moral position here?
Okay, so a scientific method is math.
Yeah, do your maths, go ahead.
So math.
Take your time and do the maths.
Math is easy. Math is simple. 500 versus 5. So 5 is always smaller than 500. So as a scientist would say, right, bang, left, kill the 5, save
So
5.
killing is okay, according to scientific principle.
Of course.
If it serves the better.
It serves the greater good, yes.
So the killing itself, there's nothing wrong with it.
No,
So according to science, killing is nothing wrong with it.
no. That's why eugenics is
So,
such a
so,
horrible
so,
subject.
so that's why you're saying science can be used to determine our morality.
True evolution, true science, true evolution is survival of the fittest. So,
There is no such thing. This is a belief
it's
based
not a
on
belief.
nothing.
It's the simplest fact is, if you put 2 crickets in a row, the stronger cricket always win because its traits inside of itself allow it to get the food first. So the weaker crickets will die out. All you are left
So
with,
who was the fit one to survive?
Huh?
Who was the fit one to survive?
The stronger one.
And who was the strong one to survive? The one who is fit.
Yeah, the one who's fit. Yeah,
Do you know what tautology is?
yeah,
That's the circular reasoning then.
yeah. It is. It's a totalitarianism mechanism.
No, it's a circular reasoning. You're saying the fit survive, and who are the fit? The ones who survive. And who are the ones who survive? The ones who are fit. He hasn't explained anything.